A World of Difference is a special presentation of Channel 2.
There's a sense of danger here, and it's really bad.
It's a desperate kind of feeling because you don't know anymore.
All this prejudice is starting to affect the way I feel about other people. I'm starting to be prejudiced.
It's so deep. I don't know if it could be turned around. So, to help us.
They just started hitting me, from all over and stuff.
He was like the cutest guy in the school, everybody liked him. So he comes over to me and spit in my sandwich and said something to the effect of I bet you're real hungry now, right? I bet you're really hungry now. Black nigga, right? And he was standing there laughing.
Damn. These guys called me a spick. I thought it was done with that.
You're gonna get free now.
As the young man said, aren't we past that? Didn't the civil rights movement succeed? During the 1950s and 60s, so many people struggled so hard to make sure young people wouldn't be hurt like this ever again.
But are things really better? Hello, I'm Michelle Marsh, and welcome to A World of Difference, a WCBS-TV year-long anti-prejudice campaign. Tonight, we present another of our special broadcasts aimed at promoting tolerance, respect, and understanding, with the hope that our perceptions might be changed and our lives enriched. Prejudice is still very much with us. It is not inherited, it is learned, passed on from parent or teacher to child. Many believe our best hope of ending prejudice is to change the thinking of our young people, who will either pass the prejudice along or find the courage to stop it dead. Which way will they turn? Tonight, we'll meet some teenagers struggling, sometimes painfully, to make these choices.
And he spit in my sandwich. Actually spit, coughed up, spit in my sandwich and said something to the effect of I bet you're real hungry now, right? I bet you're really hungry now. Black nigga, right? And he was standing there laughing. And I was in tears. I was I was hungry. I hadn't eaten breakfast and I was hungry. And he spit in my sandwich.
A World of Difference, a campaign to reduce prejudice, a joint public service of the Anti-Defamation League of B'nai B'rith, the Lucille and Martin Cantor Foundation, Rich Loom Incorporated, the Coalition to Celebrate Our Differences, and WCBS-TV. We now return to Names Can Really Hurt Us.
You're wrong sex.
No religion.
You're ugly.
You're fat. You're wrong color. You're poor. You're a nerd.
You smell bad.
You're a criminal.
We don't want you here.
You dress funny.
Hatred, violence, name-calling, they are all in the news again. It's been comfortable for us to see prejudice as the other guy's problem, but it's not. The prejudice in each of us, which we get just growing up in America, can really hurt others. These older students are already finding themselves getting hardened, turning off.
I got punched in the face. That really didn't hurt me. The wounds heal. But, they kept on calling me Spig during this whole thing. It was like I walk in the street and I feel lower. All this prejudice is starting to affect the way I feel about other people. I'm starting to be prejudiced.
I've been through so much where that prejudice is concerned that right now it's to the point where the boiling point where it's like now, don't even try it, don't even feel it, don't even think it. You go your way and I'll go mine. Don't start it. Just leave me alone.
How do we create an atmosphere where we're all aware of the world of differences that distinguish us one from the other, but we're not threatened by those differences? In fact, we learn to delight in them. Remember the old nursery rhyme, "Sticks and stones will break my bones, but names will never hurt me"? Well, name-calling does hurt, and sometimes more than sticks and stones.
They teach sex education. As inadequate as it is, they do address the issue of girls and boys have to deal with each other sexually, and they talk about that. We need race education. We need ethnic education.
These junior high school students are from the diverse population of IS-70 in Manhattan's Chelsea district. They're doing something drastic about the problem. It may not strike them as daring right now, but what they'll go through may send them back to their old friends with a different outlook, one which could put them in hot water.
Don't belong.
You're white.
They are younger than the students we heard earlier. Most are 8th and 9th graders, looking at crossroads ahead, making critical life choices. Some are about to graduate into high school. This is the moment to reach them, if they can be reached. Picked as potential leaders, they're being trained in this week-long Board of Ed workshop to carry more open-minded attitudes back to the classroom and the community. This school doesn't have any unusual strife, but that doesn't mean the danger of prejudice and violence isn't there. The workshop is part of a peace education program co-directed by Linda Lantieri that aims to resolve conflicts creatively without violence. They get right to work defining terms.
Prejudice is when you have feelings maybe towards a certain group of people or categorizing them.
Discrimination is the act, the action.
These two girls came along and they like pushed me out of the way. They just have these moods where like one day they're like, I really feel like beating somebody up, so they find a white girl who's walking around and they do.
But most of the workshop is devoted to understanding and feeling. Students share moments when they've been hurt by prejudice or have hurt others. They move from just thinking it's wrong to trying on the other person's shoes and feeling how wrong it is.
Who do you think you are? You don't belong around here. We don't like your type, so you better get lost.
They learn to stand up to injustice, not just in their heads, but in role-playing exercises and group games.
Wait! Why are you picking on her?
Feeling secure in who we are makes us less likely to be prejudiced. So students begin by unmelting the melting pot, celebrating their differences.
My mom is from Ecuador and my father's from Puerto Rico. I was born in Korea and I moved here about like 2.5 years ago.
My father's white and my mother's black.
Both of them were born in the Dominican Republic.
I was born in China, and then I came here like when I was 6 years old.
All my parents are from Africa, Nigeria.
My grandfather was born in Russia.
My grandfather's from Jamaica.
She grew up in Israel.
They all live in Alabama.
Part Spanish, Indian, they're Japanese.
From Peru.
Next step is to let out the pain that comes from being an outsider or being made to feel like one. Not only does that make you feel less alone as you hear what others have suffered, but it can become a weapon. How? Lantieri believes that your best shot at stopping bullies or bigots is to show your wounds. But there's a problem here. These youngsters have been taught that showing pain means being weak. It's hard. Terribly hard for them to admit they've been hurt. And yet,
When I first came into the country, you know, I had a problem of speaking English correctly. And I think I had an accent. They used to make fun of it.
They laugh and next time if I want to read something, then they just like look at each other and say, oh, she can't read. You know, like, or make it fun of it, and it feels really bad. I feel like stupid.
People just come around and they just walk by and say real stupid things. You know, go back from where you came from, you know.
I had only 3 friends because I couldn't speak English, and they were like talking, oh, do you want to go to ice skating maybe this weekend? And I was hoping they would ask me to go with them. And one of the girls said like, do you want to ask Lisa to out? And she said, and the other girl said, oh, she can't ice skate, she's Chinese. Well, I'm Korean, but she thought I was Chinese. I bet I was better than them because I was in group skating for 2 years and they just didn't know me. They're like talking, oh, she's Chinese, she can't skate, Chinese can't skate, they don't like sports, they don't want to go out, all they want to do is a school. They want to look good in front of teachers. And I felt really bad. And like, sorry, I can't. And this is like really stupid, but I thought if I didn't study and I was like really bad in classroom, then maybe they would notice me as differently. And
I was about 5. I walked over there and I asked him, could I see it? And he came to me and he said, my mother said, I can't trust no black people. I'm supposed to hate black people. And I never understand it. And then as I was small, you know, my feelings were hurt very easily and I walked off crying. I never understand.
One time I was walking down the hallway and they came up to me and first they threw a sweatshirt at me. And then they like held my arm and they like literally pulled my eyes like apart, like, you know, from the sides. And they just like pushed me and I walked away. But I couldn't really do anything because I just went into the new school and I didn't really know anybody and nobody really talked to me. So I just walked away and then they were laughing and then I just walked away.
Names Can Really Hurt Us returns after these messages. We now return to Names Can Really Hurt Us.
For a while, I hated anybody that wasn't my color. And, you know, and I was like a bully all of a sudden.
In this country where no one is supposed to feel like an outsider, too many feel locked out, ignored, forced to keep their feelings under cover. The workshop participants may now be seeing everyone a little differently, even one another. In an exercise designed to show how they've grown during the workshop, they confess some of the ignorant opinions they had of one another when they first got together. Opinions based on rumor, outward appearance, first impressions, based in short on prejudice.
When I first saw you, I thought, oh, well, she's going to be another boring person.
I always thought you had this little attitude, you know?
When I first seen you, I thought that you were short and stupid and a dumb kid.
Then the students reveal how far they've come. Face-to-face contact has now erased those first prejudgments.
And now that I got to know you, I think you're a nice kid. I got to know you more.
I just thought you had an attitude, but now that I know you, you're not like that. You're not like that at all.
I misjudged you, and I just want you to know you're a nice person. And it's glad since you've been open and honest with us.
Well, in 6th grade, we were in the same classes.
But even though the original bad opinions are now proven false, just hearing them really hurts some people's feelings.
What kind of tears are those?
They go on to talk about scapegoats. When you're hurt, you often want to get back by hurting others. Victims become victimizers. The enemy is in part inside us.
Anytime I see a white kid, I used to kick him, and he'd start running and getting scared.
When I was young, I used to hang out with the homegirls, you know, talk, bebop and everything. And I used to hate the white girls in my school.
Something happened to me like 2 years ago, and I'd rather not say what. And I was really prejudiced against people who are like Mexican or look Mexican.
Sometimes I discriminate, you know, people that like their own sex. Like, you know, if I see a person that's gay, you know, I'll say, no, man, if he's going, I ain't going, you know, I can't go. And there's this one crippled guy, you know, around where I live, and, you know, just to be one of the gang, I used to try to, you know, pick fights with him. I feel bad about it, but, you know, I also feel wrong, but, you know, I felt that if, you know, sometimes I used to be put down because, you know, sometimes the way I dress, the way I act,
or people who I hang out with, and I always wanted to be, one of the gang.
Sometimes when the kids single out a single person and they start making fun of him, at first I object and I don't take part in it. But then after a while, I start thinking like them and I laugh. And prejudice is sort of contagious.
Prejudice is something we can all do without. Open up your eyes and see what it's about.
If prejudice is contagious, how do we keep it from spreading? For Lantieri, it's not enough just to fight the prejudice in yourself. You need to teach others, spread the word. But will they? Are they ready to go out and change the world?
There's a girl in my class. She's Chinese, and she's like worse than me. She came a little like 2 months later, and they made her like really feel like stupid, and she did not understand.
I have a problem, I'm always worried about what people are thinking about me.
I'll be able to tell my friends, not to, talk about this certain person or that certain person without having to, face the fact that they might not be my friends again.
I wish I didn't worry about it so much, because if you don't worry, then you can stand up and you're not always thinking, oh, what are they thinking about me and things.
I mean, I couldn't say anything because, I don't know, maybe I was just scared.
When my friends are making fun of somebody, I don't have enough courage to tell them, hey guys, stop it,
The person's not showing that it's being hurt, but you don't know, Real deep down inside, it's probably crying or something.
I wonder, what would other people say? And sometimes, people does that to me, and I can't stand up for myself because sometimes I guess I'm scared, and I want to have courage to stand up for myself and others.
That courage needs to come from inside, but there are things the group can do for Lisa to help her feel stronger. What she goes through here mirrors the workshop process as a whole. The students remind her of ways she can talk to herself, build herself up.
Be proud of who you are. Don't try to change yourself for anybody. If anybody's going to like you, they're going to like you for who you are, not what you have or you can give them.
I'm scared, and I want to have courage to stand up for myself and others.
In this little ritual, they wish her, in unison, the strength to stand up in public.
Here we go. Okay. Oh, look who's here.
It's that stupid Chinese girl again.
In role-playing exercises, Lisa has the chance to replay the incident where the quiet Chinese girl was teased.
I'm not saying I'm smart, but if you're a person, you're a human, then you shouldn't say things like that to anyone, no matter they're Chinese, black, or white.
What gives you the right to tell me that?
It's not right.
But how do you know all this?
I am a person, so I can feel. If I know how she feels, because, when I came here, you people that did that to me, and it feels really bad, and I can imagine how she feels.
And she finds the resources to set a new goal for herself.
If someone is prejudiced, then I think I can tell them and teach them to not be prejudiced, and tell them why they can't be, and it's not right to just judge people by their colors or races or religious. And I learned many things.
But is she strong enough to follow through?
Names Can Really Hurt Us returns after these messages. We now return to Names Can Really Hurt Us.
Thanks to the workshop, Lisa now has a few more people who really care about her. She seems stronger, and, along with others in the group, she pushes on to graduate. Ahead, she faces a new school, more pressures to be one of the gang, and more tests of her courage and confidence. Has the experience made a difference for Lisa and the group? We visited the school about 10 days after the workshop ended to see if we could see any changes.
One of my friends said to me, he said, David, just because you went to that stupid workshop doesn't change anything. I mean you're still like the rest of us. So calm down.
Fortunately, they didn't calm down. In fact, many of them stood
I
up.
learned that one person can make a difference. Because one day, Me and 5 or 6 of my friends, we were walking around the hallway in school, and we saw this girl. She was reading something, and they were planning to take it. So I stood against them, and I said, "Nah, fella, let's not. And then they started calling me names and pushing me off, but I didn't really care about that, and we kept walking, and I felt really good about it.
I was with some relative of mine. We were walking down the street and there was like a black guy. The person said something and I said, you shouldn't be afraid to walk down the street and think that you're gonna get mugged by a black person because, I mean, anybody can mug you. It's not just a black person.
No matter what people said to me, I would not make fun of the races anymore.
And what about the notion that showing your pain may actually make someone think, or at least slow the bully down? Suya let someone know he'd hurt her.
This kid, he was teasing me. He was calling me names like Ching Chong and all this stuff like that. I was just mad that he could say that kind of stuff to anybody. So then that night he called and he apologized and stuff to say he was sorry that he hurt my feelings and stuff, and I felt good about that.
Lantiri's nonviolent concepts not only sound right, they appear to work. Even before the workshop ended, and completely on his own, one of the members had already taken action.
Early in the program, I had said that there was a crippled guy that I know, and I was kind of, in a sense, prejudiced against him. And we had a conversation yesterday, and I explained to him everything, and he kind of knew that, I was prejudiced. And I told him, everything that was going on, and, it was good to know that he knew, how I felt, and that he didn't feel, too bad about it, but he felt bad, and I knew what I was doing was wrong.
Paul's story was almost too good to be true. We followed up, asked to meet the person Paul used to tease. Robert is 19, has multiple sclerosis, and lives a few blocks from Paul.
Paul used to tease me a lot. I didn't like it. I used to chase him up and down the street, occasionally. But he got to the point where he got tired of doing it himself, and he came to talk to me about it.
I realized that I was the one that was wrong, and that's when I finally got the courage, to come up, and face my problem. And I guess here we are today.
Paul was not exaggerating, and now there's a chance for, if not a friendship, at least a lot more understanding. And what about Lisa, who felt so fearful earlier?
There was a girl, and she's really short, really. And she was not my friend. She's a friend of my friend. And someone, made fun of her because she was short, and she was kind of fat, too. And, and I remembered what I was talking about in this group. And my gift was, courage. And I stand up for her, say, you shouldn't say about people because they're short or a little fat. And I was the only one who stand up for her, and I was all alone.
But Lisa's not alone today. The experience for these kids has changed some of their attitudes and actions. Only time will tell if the changes are long-lasting and whether these would-be leaders can open up other minds and really make a world of difference. They'll surely need all the help they can get, and that's where the rest of us come in.
Don't belong.
You're white.
You're ugly. You're fat. You're wrong sex. You're poor. You're a nerd.
You smell bad.
You can't cut.
You don't belong here.
You're a sucker. You speak funny. You're wrong color. You're a criminal. You dress funny.
You're black. Prejudice. When you hurt others, you hurt yourself.
A World of Difference, a campaign to reduce prejudice. A joint public service of the Anti-Defamation League of B'nai B'rith, the Lucille and Martin Cantor Foundation, Rich Loom Incorporated, the Coalition to Celebrate Our Differences, and WCBS TV.